Hello there, YouTube. I am Necrostevo, and it's time for the final week of the Pokemon Premier League, Season 2, Champions Edition. This is week number 7 in the regular season, so after this it's all playoffs, baby.
Playoffs?
We currently have a record of 4-2. And before I looked at things, I think we were overall 4th in the standings. They probably have changed because there are so many teams with the same record. So this battle this week against the Don Fanatic is very important for us to clinch our playoff chances. Several coaches with 4 and 3 were eliminated from playoff contention, so we need to win this. For what this battle is worth, going up against the Don Fanatic, if you go back on my channel and look at the history, he and I battled over so long of a period. One of our first opponents, getting into Draft League. So it's just a pleasure to face the Don Fanatic again. I believe he is still undefeated, which isn't great, but it is great because that means when we beat him, we will be taking that undefeated crown away from him. And we've done it before, we'll do it again, gosh darn it.
Consarn it. Gosh darn it!
First up, let's have a quick and dirty team builder and look at what the Don Fanatic is bringing to our battle. He has drafted Mega Staraptor, Grimmsnarl, Metagross, Palafin, Gliscor, Mega Gengar, Hydreigon, Snorlax, Vileplume, and Stunfisk. So what have the Shadows brought to bear? Against a team so mighty, I don't even want to think about trying to prep for, is it going to be Staraptor? And is he going to boost it up a bunch with the Grimmsnarl? Or maybe the Grimmsnarl is just going to be there and support things that are very annoying for our team like Palafin and Metagross. Also, will I be able to switch? Mega Gengar could be on the field with Shadow Tag, and we just have to stay there. And by the way, Snorlax has won several games for Jack just because it doesn't die, so we have our work cut out for us, as always. In this matchup, we have our very bulky Mega Glimmora. Glimmora here with 32 HP EVs. It allows it to live hits from the likes of Palafin using Jet Punch, something like a +2 close combat coming out of the Staraptor. It also allows me to potentially live Meteor Mash or Heavy Slam coming out of Metagross. And finally, it allows me to live something like a Draco Meteor after getting hit by like a coverage move like Icy Wind. Having all that HP is why we're doing that. On the speed tiers, we don't actually need all the extra speed. On the Glimmora, I have enough speed to creep a Hydreigon that's modest and is trying to outspeed a max speed Basket Legion, so a little bit of a weird speed tier there. I did say I wasn't going to have a weird speed tier again on the Glimmora, and gosh darn it, I'll do what I want.
Dagnabbit! We'll never get rid of him! Dagnabbit! We'll never get rid of him!
So that's why it is that way. After Glimmora, we have our Choice Scarf Basket Legion. This just has enough speed to make sure I can outrun the Mega Gengar. And this is a potential lead there because the Grimmsnarl might carry Fake Out. And so we are very likely to see it. And so I at least want to make him guess. And that is why we have these Pokemon the way we do. Grimmsnarl can only set up one screen at a time or debuff one Pokemon at a time. Or buff the Staraptor. So if I have a strong physical move come out at the same time as a strong special move from the likes of either Glimmora or maybe Ninetales, those are all ways that we can get around the buffs that the Staraptor might have. This also allows me to just cover for a lead Mega Gengar and be faster than it and do burst damage down into it immediately. We do have Flip Turn just to hopefully pivot off the field in the event that we're intimidated. And Aqua Jet is there in the event that I need something faster than, say, the Palafin. Even like if I'm at low HP and Bullet Punch tries to come out, those might be more useful in that situation. After that, we have our Ninetales with just enough speed here for the... Oh, that's enough speed to make sure that I outrun the max speed on the potential Palafin, with just the rest into special attack and a little bit of defense. We have Foul Play here because if I carry just Blizzard and Freeze Dry, then that means that the Metagross walls us, and Foul Play is actually also pretty decent into the Palafin. Freeze Dry is generally better because we're going to have the Never Melt Ice item. I don't want to play around with Blizzard missing outside of the snow in the event that the snow goes away, so that's why we have Freeze Dry there. Protect is here just for longevity it is very likely that Metagross will have Heavy Slam or Bullet Punch, and so Ninetales will get one hit KO'd by either one of those, even with the snow up, so I don't really want to deal with them. And we just would protect and hopefully let the teammate take care of those. After that, we have our Clefable set. This one I worked on a lot here. We started off with an offensive Clefable, but then it just kept dying on the ladder. Granted, it did pick up some surprise KOs. Then we switched it to fully defensive, and it wasn't just doing enough damage to things, so we ended up going Fairy Feather with a defensive spread with enough speed to outrun the Mega Gengar in the event that I have a Tailwind up. So a little bit weird, but Moonblast and Flamethrower is just good coverage across the whole team here, and Follow Me will enable something like my Mega Phalanx or even just a little bit of protection. Granted, 2 fairies against a Metagross isn't great, which is another reason I have Flamethrower here, but we should be able to live. If it's Meteor Mash, we can live Meteor Mash, but if it's Heavy Slam, very unlikely that we're living a Heavy Slam. Unaware is also very nice for Staraptor, which is one reason he might not go Staraptor mode, because even if he boosts up his defenses, a Fairy Feather boosted Moonblast does like 90% to the Staraptor, so it's really easy to get a little bit of chip damage and then finish it off with my Clefable. After that, we have our Noivern here. Tailwind, Taunt, Super Fang, and Air Slash. I am not running Hurricane. That move misses too much, and even in prep, I missed 3 or 4 Air Slashes. This move is supposed to be 95% accurate. You wouldn't know by how often I miss it. I didn't get a single flinch when I was prepping, but I did get several misses, so that is part of it. Super Fang is really nice here because I could outspeed the Pokemon beside Noivern, Super Fang my opponent down to half of their HP and then finish it off. For example, Super Fang in a close combat from Mega Phalanx is enough to take out all but like the most physically defensive Metagross. That will also help with Super Fang into almost any coverage up against, if he tries to bring a bulky version of Palafin, very likely that he would go specially defensive here, for example, and try to run bulk up. And here if I Super Fang and then hit it with the coverage move, or really just something strong, for example, something from Mega Glimmora, we're able to take it out. Taunt is here just to annoy the Grimmsnarl. It will shut down the Vileplume, it hampers the Snorlax, and it will also enable me to stop Gliscor from going for its, it has a variety of different support moves. We are going to run Yache Berry here. That might be a game losing mistake here, but I'm thinking it's very likely we're going to get hit by Icy Wind, Ice Punch. Ice Punch can be run on a few of these different Pokemon, so that's why I'm thinking the Yache Berry might come into play there. And of course, we just have enough speed to outrun the likes of the Staraptor, and Air Slash is still a 2-hit KO with this special attack investment, even if he gets a +1 Spadef boost. Our final Pokemon is our Mega Phalanx. Once again, count 'em, 2 Megas come into the battle.
2, count 'em, 2.
That's just what we do. So we are going to have here the option to hopefully physically shut down something like the Snorlax here. I'm just running max speed, enough speed to make sure that I always outrun the likes of the Hydreigon, because I should be able to take hits from the Mega, not the Mega, I mean Palafin is kind of like a Mega, but I should be able to take hits from the Palafin. So I don't want to get outsped by a Hydreigon and get exploded with Draco Meteor or something. Close combat and knockoff hit the entire team for at least neutral. Primarily, this is just here to dissuade the Snorlax from trying different things.
Hey now, don't try it. Hey now.
It also is a decent answer to the Vileplume, because Vileplume likes to use Strength Sap, which will, of course, not really benefit it versus the Phalanx, because I'll keep getting boosts off of that. So that's kind of the deal with the Phalanx. If I don't see Snorlax, I'm much less likely to bring Mega Phalanx in, but I do think that the option to go between Phalanx and Glimmora and do either strong burst, physical attack, or special attacking damage will at least force my opponent to try to choose what they're going to do. And even if I don't bring Phalanx into the battle, the presence should dissuade the Snorlax, which opens up my Glimmora and my Ninetales significantly more. So that is the game plan. A little bit of a longer team builder this time, but this being week 7, we're just gonna put it all out there. We're gonna do a little bit more prep, and we're gonna do a lot better in the battle. So thank you all for watching the team builder. Okay, and thank you for getting ready with the team builder with me. It's time to battle the Dawn Fanatic. Best of luck, sir, this week, but not too much luck. We want it to be a clean battle for the final week in the PPL. As a reminder, this battle between Jack and I was actually streamed on the PPL channel. Thank you, Amber, Gravy, as always, for commissioning everything. For this battle, we see that he has his Grimmsnarl, the Mega Gengar, Snorlax, the Metagross, Vileplume, and the Mega Staraptor. And a couple of surprises here. So number one, we don't see Palafin, which is honestly pretty huge. That's one big thing that the Glimmora won't have to deal with here. We still have to contend with possible bullet punches, but it's also nice to not see the Hydreigon or the Gliscor. Hydreigon, of course, mainly threatening my failings, if it were Scarfed, that is. In this first match, we are going to try out our Glimmora mode first. Remember, the idea is to have something out that is specially attacking, alongside something that is physically attacking. So we're going to go Glimmora alongside our Basculegion, and we'll have Clefable in the back in case we need to flip turn out, or even redirect. We are also going to bring our Ninetales here, because with Basculegion and Glimmora, I am pretty sure I can take on the Metagross. This not being a Mega Metagross is actually really good for this scenario. Starting the battle off, we see the Dawn Fanatic lead off with Mega Gengar and Metagross. Metagross is just really good against my team, so I'm not at all surprised to see it here. I am going to go with the offensive play. We are going to Mega Evolve our Glimmora, go for the Spiky Shield just for a little bit of assurance here, but we're just going to go straight for the Wave Crash into the Mega Gengar. This is kind of showing my hand because, of course, he'll know right away that I'm Scarfed if I do this. Because otherwise, why would I risk it? Unless I could have a Cassib Berry to maybe resist the Shadow Ball. But we're just going to go for the immediate offensive play. Our opponent is undefeated, and we really are going into this battle with the mindset of we're going to try to make optimal plays here and try to avoid seeing how things play out. So we do see the Wave Crash, and good gravy, that was an immediate one-shot into the Gengar. And we see Psychic Fangs come out of the Metagross, which I was surprised by. I thought we'd see a Steel-type move right there. But I was pretty happy to see the Psychic Fangs, because maybe that means I can switch in Clefable a little bit more easily on that slot. Vileplume comes out, and I was wondering if this means that I might just eat a Sleep Powder if I try to swap. I also was curious if the Metagross is going to swap up moves now, expecting me to switch. I'm like, do I just want to take my damage? Because if Vileplume is here, whatever else is in the back, we know it was Mega Gengar, so it's unlikely that Staraptor is in the back. So I think at this point, I just need to try to remove the Metagross from the field. And unfortunately, Dawn Fanatic reads me like a book, and he protects on my double up into the Metagross here. I honestly, I think a little bit tunnel vision there. Sludge Bomb doesn't do that much damage. That was a good move because it covered for me switching out into either of my fairies in the back. So that would have done critical damage to one of my fairies. But here I was just trying to do damage to the Metagross. Poison is also annoying because I'm already taking a good amount of recoil from my Wave Crash. Again, reminder, this is a bulky Glimmora, so if my opponent decides to go for, say, a Bullet Punch or a Heavy Slam, those will not be one-shotting my Mega Glimmora. He does take the opportunity to switch out into the Snorlax, and I was like, this is great. I'm doing a ton of damage to the Snorlax here. But Snorlax also has really high HP, and so after taking all that extra damage from the recoil, the poison is going to be what takes down my Basculegion. We also see Leaf Seed come out from the Glimmora, and this is actually a very annoying combo that I hadn't thought of. Mega Gengar could keep you on the field and stop you from swapping out, while Vileplume just sits in there and enjoys the extra recovery and probably protects while you're losing HP. It's also critical that I stay at a higher level of HP. If I get down below, say, 60%, then I'm in range of a Bullet Punch, depending on the investment on the Metagross. And we haven't really taken a hit from the Metagross, so we don't know what type of investment it has yet. And I also didn't get to hit it earlier, so I don't know what type of defensive investment it has. Is it defensive? Is it offensive? I don't know. I'm just the one playing the game. We do bring in Ninetales after our Basculegion goes down, because we are able to threaten the Vileplume here with the Ice-type move. The other thing that's going to be very beneficial in this situation is that I might be able to KO the Snorlax if I go for Blizzard into a move from my Glimmora, but we do see just the double protect. I was kind of curious about this. I'm thinking it was just a play to make sure that the Snow goes down a little bit sooner, but also he gets the leftovers recovery and he gets the leech seed recovery. So it was a good move that allowed him to scout what I was going to do, and he gets more HP. Very annoying. You'll see we got the Vileplume down to around 75% HP before, after a hit. But then after the Citrus Berry and also the Leech Seed recovery, it's up to 88% already. Again, I think my best play is to go for Blizzard, but it's kind of telegraphed now, so I'm thinking Metagross might come in right here. And so expecting the Metagross to try to come in on a Sludge Bomb, a Power Gem, I'm going to swap in my Clefable. And I really should have stayed in there and gone for the offensive move, because we see Sludge Bomb come out from the Vileplume. This time I don't get poison, but we do see high horsepower come out from the Snorlax. And it's at the range it was at before the leftovers recovery, I might have been able to finish it off right there. Here we're going to try splitting our attacks once again. We did see a miss on the high horsepower, and that was very good information to know that high horsepower was carried by Snorlax. However, it would not have done that much to Clefable here anyways. As a reminder, this is a defensive Clefable with the Fairy Feather, and so I'm highly incentivized to go for Moonblast, because I think that maybe Moonblast followed by the Blizzard will be enough. Probably not. I do Flamethrower the Vileplume. Expecting there, I think I was expecting the Metagross to try to swap in, but he just protects. And so we lose Ninetales here because I get that call incorrect. The plus side here is that we did rid ourselves of the Leech Seed on our Mega Glimmora, so this battle is not over yet. But unfortunately, with two Pokemon who are weak to Steel out here, and the Metagross in the back, I know that both of these Pokemon can take a hit from a Bullet Punch, but a Heavy Slam might be a little bit tougher now that I'm not at max HP on my Glimmora. We do have the Mind Games, at least, of the Spiky Shield, and I was very tempted here to go for a Spiky Shield, expecting maybe a high horsepower, but instead I figure, you know what, let's just go for the Follow Me and try to do as much damage as possible to the Snorlax. So we go for Follow Me. This is going to draw in. If it's the Sludge Bomb, it's going to draw in and it's going to hurt. And we see that Power Gem is enough to take out the Snorlax, even though it was at higher HP than it was earlier. So if I had stayed in and just gone for that Power Gem on that turn, that would have been great, because I would have had Ninetales at much higher HP. However, we are in here with the Metagross, and, you know, it's do or die here. He can very easily KO, I think, either of these Pokemon from this range. We are going to try to protect here, and we are going to try to go for the Earth Power for maximum damage. This is looking actually very dicey. If this is at all like an invested Metagross into HP or special defense, I'm not going to be able to KO it. And unfortunately, I can't risk the Metagross hitting my Glimmora. We do see the Bullet Punch come out right there, and from that range, that is enough to finish me off, but we see Earth Power, and it's a critical hit, taking down that Metagross. I refuse to say that nickname, but yes, we did just pound that Metagross by tearing open the ground.
I see what you did there, Larry.
And that means, off the back of a little bit of luck here in game number 1, assuming that the crit mattered. I believe that the crit mattered there based off of what Jack shared with me after the battle. So off of a little bit of luck and not getting punished too badly for my misplay of swapping out earlier, we're able to take game number 1 against the Norwich Skitty. Game number 2 is coming up, and because my opponent still brought the Snorlax in, even though I have a Mega Phalanx, it's sitting right there. And honestly, Phalanx, he had his Vileplume, the Snorlax, the Metagross, and the Gengar. Phalanx is terrible against the Mega Gengar, but everything else Phalanx kind of hang in there against, at least for a couple hits. Maybe not against the Vileplume, because those are still special moves, but after I get off a no retreat, I can definitely take those hits from the Vileplume. I don't think there's much that I can do about the Mega Gengar unless I have the no retreat up. So in this battle, though, we are going to run it back with the same leads. I wanted to see how Jack adapted to the combination of the Glimmora and the Basculegion lead. One thing I did not consider with this lead is that priority moves on the Grimmsnarl, if they are offensive, they can easily be very, very problematic. For example, Fake Out, that can just stop the Glimmora in its tracks. He could also set up priority Reflect immediately. Depending on what he leads it with, then I might not be able to KO what's beside it, basically, because I'm kind of forced to protect on the first turn with my Glamora if the Grimmsnarl is there, because I don't want to get hit by the Fake Out. I am going to make one adjustment with my Pokemon in the back, and that's to switch one of my fairies to Noivern, because being able to strip half of the HP off of either Snorlax or half of the HP off of Metagross will make them much easier to deal with. Game number 2 is now starting. And what did the Don Fanatic lead off with? Well, we kind of called it. We see Grim Shady and the Snorlax. And so I was like, here we go. Here comes the setup right off the rip here. I did not want to deal with any sort of setup. And so I actually ended up going for Wave Crash into the Snorlax, and thinking that the Grimmsnarl was just going to set up a screen, maybe like a Reflect. I'm just going to go for the offensive move and try to do as much damage as possible. And a Wave Crash into a Power Gem we have previously seen is plenty of damage to KO the Snorlax. The other thing that I kind of had in the back of my mind here is if this is a defensive... Oh, wait, it doesn't matter.
Surprise!
It's an offensive Grimmsnarl, and I get one tapped on my Basculegion and then proceed to do nothing to the Snorlax, who KOs me with the high horsepower. And I've blinked. I've blinked in game 2, lost half of my team, and I've functionally not done any damage to the Don Fanatic. What the French toast?
What the French toast?
This sucks. This battle is probably over, honestly, if we are being so for real at this point. I just don't have the offense with what I have remaining here. And on the Frisk, we find out that the Grimmsnarl has black glasses, so this is not only offensive. I did have some defensive points on my Basculegion to live a Sucker Punch if it were like an uninvested one, but I can't live a max attack invested, black glasses boosted Sucker Punch. That's like giving you 2 shiners in both your eyes. Because I wanted to kind of see what the Grimmsnarl would have, I ended up trying to taunt it, thinking that it was going to go for some sort of support move. We critical hit the Snorlax and we freeze the Grimmsnarl. But after such a terrible turn 1, this is not going to matter. I get some valuable information seeing that it looks like the Snorlax's Body Slam is not a 2-shot on this bulky Noivern, which is very good to see. I am going to try to get off as much damage as possible here to maybe just get a little bit of differential. With so many teams having the same record in my division, I believe 5 total teams had a record of 4 and 3. And we really needed this freeze here. Snorlax ends up doing either that other one was a low roll and this one is a high roll, but we really need the differential to not be crazy here. I don't want to lose all my differential in one battle, so I need to pick up a KO here. I would love to pick up a double KO, but of course, the Don Fanatic protects. We see him thaw out as well and do a little bit of chip with Sucker Punch. That's actually pretty good information as well to know how much that would do to me. And we're just going to keep on Blizzard spamming, so we do pick up at least 1 KO here in game number 2. And another piece of valuable information, we get to see which Pokemon he brought in the back. So we see the Metagross, and actually that's not that much information because I assumed that the Metagross was in the back. I more wanted to know if Staraptor was here or if it was the Mega Gengar. But with this Metagross just coming in, it's not Mega, it's just regular. But that Bullet Punch immediately KOs me. And I was like, okay, that's probably an offensive Metagross if it just KO'd me like that. Yeah, that was a fast battle, number 2. Good gravy. I played okay in game 1 and got lucky. In game 2, I played terrible and got lucky. So in game 3, we're going to need to play well, and I need to get lucky again. We need to see something happen that goes in my favor. So game number 3. You already know the adjustment that we are going to make. It is Mega Failings time. Gosh darn it. We tried the Glamora. Glamora won't be able to stand up to a high horsepower coming out of a Snorlax. And actually, against the lead of the Grimmsnarl and the Snorlax, if I had led Mega Failings in battle number 2, which I was close to doing, we would have been in a very strong position starting the battle off. I probably would have still lost Basculegion though to the Sucker Punch, just because that kind of blew my mind at the time. Because I did think about it before prepping, but I assumed that the supportive capabilities of Grimmsnarl looked really good for my opponent, especially alongside the Staraptor. So there's no way I expected offensive max attack Grimmsnarl, and it had to be max attack with the black glasses in order to KO Basculegion, because Basculegion, it has good defense, especially with its HP stat. It is not a fish that just falls over very easily. So you can see I took a long time to think about things in game number 2 before clicking it, and especially knowing that I was on live stream and that my editor, my partner, the love of my life was watching me live. I was like, I have to do better than this. We need the power of the Mega Phalanx to come and power us up, and I'm not even going to go with my initial strategy because remember I wanted to have, a strong special hit and a strong physical hit. But if the Grimmsnarl isn't even running screens, then I might as well just punch it in the mouth, is what my thinking was right there. Now I believe a stronger lead would have been to lead with the Clefable and the Phalanx, but the other nice thing is if he leads with the Metagross, which is something I could see happening here just because of my dual fairies and the Glamora, Phalanx and Basculegion lead very well into the Metagross in this situation. You also see me grab Noivern there, because with Clefable and Noivern in the back, not only can I reposition and pivot around if the Mega Gengar comes again, but I will still have the redirection for my Phalanx if I need. And we see once I won't make the same mistake again, Jack. You won't get me that easily. We see the Grimmsnarl and the Gengar on the lead. And here, though, I had a decision to make, because I was like, if Phalanx gets hit by a special attack, it's going to die. Do I try to get it off the field now? And if I do try to get it off the field now, do I go into whom? Exactly. My opponent can just Sludge Bomb this slot, and they know that they can hit something. So I decide to kind of make a read here. I decide to swap out my Basculegion, expecting the Sucker Punch. That allows me to bring in my Noivern. We're going to Mega Evolve at the same time as our opponent, and we're going to go for a knockoff. My thinking with this is that it is way too obvious to leave Mega Phalanx here on the field and try to do something. And so I'm thinking that they're going to try to target out the slot that might be switching. I'm half correct. We see Reflect get revealed here, which sucks, but we do see Will-O-Wisp come out of the Mega Gengar, and that would have really sucked if my Basculegion got burned. I was surprised to not just see an offensive move there, and we can see with the Reflect up though that my knockoff might not have even KO'd the Mega Gengar anyway. We are going to try to Tailwind and Protect right here. That will allow me to have the speed advantage, and that will mean that a double up of a subsequent knockoff into an Air Slash will be enough to finish off the Mega Gengar. When it is Mega Evolved, of course, I cannot switch off the field, so we are stuck in this position, and again, I kind of get the play half right here. I Protect, expecting maybe a move from the Gengar into the Phalanx, and then we are going to go for our Tailwind, and we see Play Rough. It ends up missing my Noivern, but it would have done about 80%. I think I would have barely lived it just because my Noivern's so bulky. So that's one miss of the Play Rough. By the way, Play Rough has 90%. Remember that for, just a few moments from now. Who's counting? We do see that the combination of Air Slash and Knockoff is enough to finish off the Gengar, because the Air Slash, there's no light screen. The Air Slash does plenty of damage. And we see another miss of the Play Rough. I don't know how much it mattered. It actually might have been better for me if my Noivern were knocked out there, because I would have gotten a free swap into my Basculegion. So I actually contend that that secondary miss benefited the Don Fanatic quite a bit, because I would have loved to have Basculegion in. I don't know. See, I say that, I would have brought in Basculegion and then what? Gotten Sucker Punched in the face? I don't think I would have brought in Basculegion there. I would have been forced to bring in Clefable. So I don't know, maybe that wasn't as beneficial as I'm saying it was. But we are going to see the Metagross Protect. I really wanted to get rid of it, as usual. I tried to Super Fang it, and I'm just going to no retreat here, thinking the Reflect is going to wear off in 2 more turns. We have 2 physical threats here on the field. It's a good thing I no retreated though, because that Play Rough did a ton of damage to Phalanx. So maybe I was wrong and it would have just one-shot Noivern, because Phalanx certainly has higher defense than the Noivern does. That's good gravy. This offensive Grimmsnarl was not messing around. We are now going to go for the +1 post-combat into the Metagross, and I was hoping that he might swap out here. This is kind of a misplay, because my thinking at the time was I can Super Fang the Metagross, and it'll be lower HP, and Phalanx can finish it off. But I forgot that Phalanx has +1 speed, and so I really should have Super Fanged the Grimmsnarl. I think would have been a stronger play right here. Taunt would have also been decent, then I could have stopped the Metagross from going for Protect, and we can see him connect on that secondary Play Rough, or I guess like quaternary, because it's his 4th time trying to use it, and finish off the Mega Phalanx. But Mega Phalanx, thank you for taking out the Mega Gengar and for doing critical damage to this Metagross. We now have a ball game. We have not revealed Flamethrower up to this point, and I'm thinking that the Metagross is probably going to Protect here, because he knows that he wants to outlast my Tailwind, and so I was like, is he going to Protect? What is he going to do here? We're going to assume that the Grimmsnarl does not have Protect. We've seen Play Rough, Reflect, and Sucker Punch. Maybe the last move is just a screen, but we are going to double target the Grimmsnarl. And again, we see the swap out to the Snorlax, and I was like, that is not who I wanted to see here. And we also see the Bullet Punch, so I could have just taken out the Metagross right there. Stripping 50% of the HP off of the Snorlax is great, but I really should have just gone ahead and targeted down the Metagross. It looks like the Dom Fanatic has picked up on a little bit of my tendencies there, because all the other times he protected with the Metagross the moment he had an opportunity to. And here he was able to get a clean half HP onto my Clefable off of my prediction, or my misprediction, rather. That being said, I should be able to live another Bullet Punch. When I was calcing Clefable, I was thinking, okay, if it's just max attack, I can live 2 Bullet Punches. Now, this is actually a max attack expert belt on the Metagross, which I did not know, and I wasn't able to frisk it. I try to get in my Basculegion for free, and I do manage to get it on the field for free as he tries to double into the Clefable slot. And now we kind of have a decision to make, because obviously the Grimmsnarl is still in the back. And so I need to position things so that my Basculegion is not just in here with no one beside it to face the Grimmsnarl, or it's just going to get smacked in the face by the Sucker Punch. Here I Flamethrower as I try to Wave Crash into the Snorlax, and that was the wrong move. There's a couple of other things I could have done here. I could have just Aqua Jetted, because that would cause the Sucker Punch to fail from the Grimmsnarl. I also, though, could have just flip turned and swapped back out. Well, not flip turn, but I could have swapped back out to my Noivern. But now we're in the position to where I am forced to go for a Follow Me, expecting Sucker Punch to come out here. Follow Me will make Sucker Punch fail, but now my Clefable's HP is so low that any move from the Snorlax is going to finish it off. And there is no Reflect Up, but does this Wave Crash KO the Grimmsnarl? It does not! We get so close. 12% HP and our Clefable goes down. And we already know from battle number 2 that even if we're at half HP on our Noivern, which we are not at, a Body Slam from the Snorlax can finish us off from that point. You know, chip damage aside from different things there. And while I can probably finish off the Grimmsnarl here, it's going to get a Sucker Punch in against my Basculegion. Unless I pull out my Pocket Protect, which I don't have on it. A Pocket Protect sounds like a prophylactic. Anyways, that will mean that the Shadows take the 2-1 loss here against the Norwich Skitty, bringing our season to an end at 4-3. Now, this does not mean we're out of playoff contention, so you better have your booties back here next week. We absolutely can still make playoffs. That was one of our goals going in here. So come back. Make sure you go check out Jack. Thank you so much for watching this absolutely intense battle. And also, go give Jack some props for having a perfect season. On his channel, he's been uploading for just as long as me, if not longer, there. But this was a perfect season for him in PPL Season 2. He didn't drop a single battle, and I believe he had all 2 O's except for this battle. This might be the only... No, he might have lost one other battle in a match. So, almost literally a flawless season. I am so lucky to get to go up against so many talented trainers There really aren't any bad trainers in the leagues that I'm in, and it really shows in battles like this, but make sure you go and check them out. Thank you all for watching this week. And again, have your booties back here. You know you want to see the Shadows in the playoffs. That was one of our goals, and I hit my mother f***ing goals. So come back here. In the meantime, have a great night, and I will see you in your dreams. Goodbye.